Henrik Tjärnström, CEO, and Patrick Kortman, Director, Corporate Development and Investor Relations. Strategic value drivers are now in place, and Netherlands is off to a flying start. Henrik, can you elaborate on the Q3 performance?
Yeah, we saw a good increase of activity throughout the quarter. Of course, Q3 is a slow quarter in a sort of year like this, especially when we have the World Cup now happening in Q4. But the league started a bit earlier than they would have done otherwise, and really good development across the markets, I would say, but Netherlands being the shining star.
Yeah, pleasing to see this encouraging activity ahead of the World Cup. The majority of the markets are showing healthy growth, and Western Europe, representing 56% of the group's gross winnings revenue in the quarter, grew 6% compared to the same period last year. Patrick, what can you say about Kindred's performance in this region if we exclude Netherlands, that we will come back to shortly?
Yeah, we had several markets that performed very well during the quarter. To name a few, France, which grew by 24% year over year. Obviously against the quarter where we had challenges last year, but very pleasing with that growth. And then the UK, where we are lapsing now, say, more easy comps, both in terms of COVID normalizations and also affordability measures. And in the UK, we grew by 10%. If we stay in the Western Europe region, maybe Belgium could be also mentioned, that we had a decline of 16% year over year. But there we should remember that Belgium actually advanced into later stages of the Euros last year and were eliminated in the July period, which obviously means that we have a very tough comps that we met now during the quarter. I think, but we had also outside of the Western European region a very strong performance. Sweden, a strong performance in Denmark, strong performance. We mentioned Italy this morning. So a good mix, and I think this really shows the benefit of having a broad market portfolio.
Absolutely, no, it's really valid.
Absolutely. And a widely discussed market within the Western region is the Netherlands. And Kindred relaunched in this market this summer. And as I said before, is off to a flying start, not only in terms of gross winnings revenue, but also saw a positive EBITDA contribution already the first month after launch. Henrik, what would you say are the main success factors behind this strong relaunch, and what are Kindred's short and medium-term targets in this market?
Yeah, we've got a strong brand in the Netherlands, and of course we also worked very hard to be as prepared as we could be once we got the license and could go live now from the 4th of July, and that's really helped a lot that we are the only operator with all 3 apps in the App Store, for example, both sports, casino and poker. We have secured exclusive content when it comes to the casino segment. We also have unique partnerships within the sports area. So we really benefit a lot from the hard work that's put in by the broad team to make that possible, and that's paying dividends now, as you see, with the intake. And we've had actually also quite a lot of spontaneous intake of customers coming voluntarily to us rather than us having to spend so much on marketing. So in some ways, when we're exceeding on the intake and also not having to spend as much on marketing, it leads to a good profitability development as well, and being profitable, as you say, with already the first month, and then that's quite quickly picking up as well, which is very encouraging.
Thank you. Both pleasing and interesting to hear. Let's spend some time on Kindred's profitability and cash flow. Patrick, in Q3, the group's underlying EBITDA margin was up 4 percentage points sequentially, while free cash flow was broadly in line with Q3 last year. And this is very pleasing to see. What lies behind these improvements?
Yeah, fundamentally what lies behind this is higher revenues than we had in Q2. So, and we showed a graph this morning in the presentation where basically all major cost items had decreased from the first half of the year as a percentage of revenues. So that obviously just shows the scalability and of our business model. And when we do grow, we also can convert that into profits. And in terms of cash flow, obviously the strong profit improvement sequentially is a driving factor there, but we also had a strong net working capital development, and which took our free cash flow up to close to 50 million for the quarter. And here again, when we launched in a new market like the Netherlands, we have accrued for betting duties and taxes, and therefore that kind of gives the net working capital effect that we saw.
Yes, and good indications then of a scalable business model with strong underlying cash flow generation. Henrik, Kindred recently held a Capital Markets Day. A lot was covered this day, but the red thread was Kindred's strategic value drivers. The first two, strong growth in core markets in Netherlands, outgrowing the market, we have already touched on. But can you give us a short status update on the other three being Relax and Kindred Sports with platform?
Well, Relax, to start with, they contributed really well to the group. They had sequential growth of 19% in their B2B revenues, which is really strong, and they continue the trend that they've been on for the last couple of quarters, which is coming on the back of a good number of supplier, sort of customer additions that they've done, and also releasing of own games, and they had their Money Train 3 now that they've launched during the quarter. So that's kind of clearly a very strong development, and we're expecting that to continue, and it's a high profitable, highly margin market supplier as well, business that Relax has. In the Kindred Sportsbook platform that we're developing, we see very good development, and we're hitting the development milestones that we're anticipating, and as we elaborated in a lot more detail around the CMD, and by the way, it's good for people to watch that as well, and there is on demand on the corporate side. But the KSP is developing well, and we're very confident that we will get the scalability and differentiation abilities that we're planning to with that. And then establishing ourselves in North America, where we have seen really good underlying indicators, improvements during the quarter, and especially towards the latter part of the quarter with the start of the NFL season, where we've seen a significantly increased intake and conversion to actives as well. And actives up 11% for the quarter, which is good. Also, the product mix has developed well, with sports growing in importance in the overall mix, and now nearing sort of the group average sort of splits that we have, so which is good for the longer term and sustainability. So all five elements are really, we're working very hard to ensure that they are continuing to develop well, but they are doing that as well.
And finally, looking into the remainder of 2022, Henrik, can you say a few words about Kindred's trading update and what we can expect of the Q4?
Yeah, we were up now 25% in constant currency compared to the full quarter last year in Q4, which is of course helped by the comps in last year. We didn't have any contribution from the Netherlands, but it's still a very positive development, I would say, and also at the lead up now towards the World Cup starting on 20th of November. So that will be very good, and the daily average revenues now for the first 23 days was £3.3 million a day, which is a good development, and showing again a continued good sequential improvement from where we've been in the previous quarter. So that's positive.
And there are on the growth in the other markets, if you exclude Netherlands, obviously up 6% compared to last year, which is solid.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Kindred can really look forward to an interesting Q4, and exciting to see some good indications of Kindred's scalable business model. Henrik and Patrick, thank you both very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.